Welcome to Morning Call for Tuesday, the 15th of January 2019. I'm Fab from Hamburg. Well, where it is so grey that you could be thinking the day hasn't started yet, even though it's later than usual. It is, of course, raining. I'm starting this a bit late. I slept in last night. I did a massive podcast recording till early in the morning, and I had to recover a bit. So first off, coffee, and then let's get into your tech news for the day. Hope you got your coffee ready there. First of all, I mean, we already knew this, but Flash is now officially dead. Mozilla is deactivating it in Firefox 69. 69, dude. I mean, they have years ago said that they'll end Flash support by 2020, and now they have actually, so it's the plugin's still in there, but they have deactivated it, and by 2020 they will be taking it out of the browser completely. Firefox 69 is supposed to be out on the 3rd of September. So I guess, yeah, it's dead. I can still remember, at OggCamp, which was is this open source free software, free culture conference. Well, I say it was because I used to be part of the organizing team, which I haven't been for quite a while. But I can still remember. This must have been 2010. When we were discussing stuff on stage and people were asking questions, and one of them is like Flash, and then people said Flash is dead. And back then it certainly wasn't dead, but I think I was one of the guys who said no, it's gonna be a while until it's completely dead. But I guess almost 10 years later, we are now there. Flash is pretty much dead. Some follow-up news on the story of Jeff Bezos' divorce. It seems like he and his wife, or his ex-wife now, met before he was an entrepreneur, and she was with him for the whole time where he made Amazon the big business empire, I guess it is now. And they didn't have a prenup, so it seems like she's getting half of Amazon. It's a good deal for her. And then in a bizarre turn of events, Donald Trump, as he's I guess want to do, is making fun of Jeff Bezos on Twitter, tweeting, "So sorry to hear the news about Jeff Bozo being taken down by a competitor whose reporting, I understand, is far more accurate than the reporting in his lobbyist newspaper, the Amazon Washington Post. Hopefully the paper will soon be placed in better and more responsible hands." 90,000 likes. I guess this is what goes for a joke with Donald Trump. I don't know. It's a bit of a sorry joke. I find this hilarious because, I mean, he should be making fun. How many divorces has that guy been through? I mean, if anything, he could give Bezos, or Bozo as he calls him, some advice with how to get through this divorce stuff because he seems to have a lot of experience with that. Moin Aski in the chat. Good morning. Moin moin from Hamburg. In news from the Linux kernel development camp. So ZFS, the file system, has been in limbo for quite a while, a little bit in the Linux kernel, because it's under a license that is not it's not under the GPL. It's under the, oh god, I have to look this up every time. The CDDL. I guess. I mean. So the problem is it's under that license, and it has to interface with the Linux kernel, who is under the GPL, and this whole thing is, I mean, it has been a huge discussion for ages, not only with ZFS but also with the NVIDIA drivers. Start to talk German there. The NVIDIA drivers, because you have code that is not under GPL in case of the official NVIDIA drivers. Whoa, you can see I'm not awake yet. I need more coffee. In the case of the NVIDIA drivers proprietary licenses, in the case of ZFS, the CDDL, and it has to interface with the GPL, and there's huge discussions around that, if that's even possible, if that would put the other software, so the driver software, under the GPL, if it's massively complicated, and very few people understand this, and there's lots of debates over this, and you're either in one camp or in the other. But so the ZFS has been using kernel modules that interface with it, and one of them is going away, I think for technical reasons. And so the maintainer of ZFS has asked the kernel developers if they can still use the other one, because the other one is mandating that the software is going to be used with so ZFS under the GPL, which it isn't, and he's asking, can we change that? And Greg Crow-Hartman, who is by many regarded as being the number one and the number two in the kernel development camp after Linus Torvalds, has pretty clearly said no. He says, quote, "My tolerance for ZFS is pretty non-existent. Sun explicitly did not want their code to work on Linux." So Oracle now, I guess. So why would we do extra work to get their code to work properly? So he is very clearly saying we don't want that. He calls the solution of getting it to work, of interfacing that code under a different license with the GPL, the quote GPL condom. And he says, yes, the GPL condom attempt doesn't work at all. It's been shut down a long time ago in the courts. So interesting story. Nobody really. I mean, this is almost a question of faith. But it looks like the kernel developers are set in saying no. This means ZFS can't be used on Linux. We don't want it to be used on Linux because the license is what it is, and nobody in that camp is changing the license. Whereas the ZFS people saying, well, people use this on Linux. They like the file system. Why don't you just let them use it? And also there is, as Golem points out in their story here, there is a history of the Linux kernel or the developers not liking like integral parts of the system, like the file system, that open source components that are not developed within the mainline Linux kernel for certain reasons, like the NVIDIA drivers, because they're in an unstable branch because of these license problems, and this is a case like this as well. So if they can't get it into mainline, they don't. I think the kernel developers feel they don't have enough power over it, and they can't change things if they have to, and so they're a bit predisposed against doing that. So it looks like ZFS on Linux is pretty much dead until something happens to change this. In transportation news, the company Lime, who makes, I think they're an Uber company, or Uber is involved somehow, kind of like Segway's involved in that. Bird company. I mean, when I was over in San Diego and LA, everybody's riding around on these Bird scooters. Lime has Bird's now, I think, in London. Lime has entered the market in Switzerland last year, and they now have stopped. They have taken all their e-scooters off the market. Basically, these are like rentable scooters. It's kind of like Drive Now or something, like a car sharing thing, except it's scooters, and you have like an app, and you can activate it, and you pay for but for the time you use them. Now they have ground their whole fleet because a software update apparently has caused these to misbehave and stop abruptly and throw people off. And so they stopped their services in Switzerland here. There have been apparently also reports from other markets, I think the US as well, where their where their scooters have been misbehaving. So this is a TechCrunch story. They quote a doctor last November who was actually, I can look this up where this was. No, he was so this is a Watson story. So I guess this was whoa, what? No, I don't want browser alerts, go away. Where was this? What? This is confusing. They're calling them e-trotties. I guess this is like a Austrian term or something. Watson is Austrian. So we would call them Roller or Tretroller in German. This was a doctor also in Switzerland. He crashed his scooter in front of. Luckily, he broke his arm, but like as they say, luckily he was in front of the emergency room where he worked, so they could help him immediately. So Aski says, I saw these things zipping around in Zurich. Looked like it could be a fun ride. And Trotti is Swiss German for Roller. Oh, this is amazing. Thanks for being in the chat. Thanks that we have some people who know these dialects that I can't deal with. I have a Swiss German friend, and whenever she talks, I'm like, what are you saying? And this is not a common language. Anyway, yes, they look fun. I mean, I saw them in San Diego. They're using them everywhere because they're for European standards, their public transport is like kind of non-existent. So everybody's using them. They also look really dangerous. Like, not because they're really fast. I mean, I ride a motorbike. I can't complain there. But they essentially ride where people would walk, like where pedestrians would walk, and then they just cross the street. Like, so I was actually I rented a car there, and my wife was like, pay attention to these bloody scooters. You run over them. It's really really dangerous. And I was really looking out for them. And they're like just people zipping around on these things. And if you're not used to them as a somebody driving a car, they're on a pedestrian way. They look like pedestrians. Like, you, in the first second, you don't notice they're not pedestrians, but they're like 3 times as fast, right? They're sometimes faster than guys on bicycles. And it's people need to get used to that, I think. Trotti sounds cool. It sounds different. Anyway, in entertainment news, a story close to my heart. Star Trek Discovery is going into its 2nd season. It's going to be released on Netflix this week. And they have now announced that Michelle Yeoh will star in a spin-off of Discovery. She is Philippa Georgiou, Captain Philippa Georgiou. Now, story's been pointing out that she is Captain Philippa Georgiou, but like, if you want to be correct, and I'm a massive Trekkie, I should have put my uniform hoodie on for today. She is actually not Philippa Georgiou. She's Philippa Georgiou from the Mirror universe, because the normal universe, Philippa Georgiou died, and so she's the Emperor, who crosses over into the normal universe and then I guess becomes a Starfleet Captain. Now, the interesting thing about this is, so apparently this story, this spin-off series is early in development and will take off from her adventures in season 2. This is Dateline Hollywood reporting. So they are saying what's going to be interesting is that she's going to be in Starfleet Section 31. I can't remember. I really have to watch the first season of Discovery again to see if she was already like at the end of that. I don't think she was. Anyway, it's interesting to see. Yes, yeah, she's going to be badass. Chad says, yeah, I think so as well. She's a great actor. I really liked her character. Now, this is Section 31. That's going to be great because, I mean, Trekkies wanted to have a Section 31 series ever since they really took off, like in Deep Space Nine. If you're not aware, Section 31 is like a really shady intelligence organization. I mean, the Federation is a very utopian thing in Starfleet, and the Federation in Star Trek are very utopian, very idealistic, and them having this division which nobody knows about, which is really shady, this really shady things, was always a very interesting story arc. So I think this is going to be great. Let's see if actually, I'm just looking on this wiki, if it says, let's see if it was in Section 31. No, it doesn't say. Okay, it says in the end here on the Memory Alpha wiki, in a bonus scene deleted from Will You Take My Hand? After having been granted her freedom in return for participating in the Kronos mission, Georgiou took over an Orion cabaret on Kronos after the ceasefire, which she had first come to know during the aforementioned mission. Thanks to her sexual experiences from her previous life, she taught an Orion duo many new things. Okay. Deleted scene, yeah. During this time, she was approached by a Section 31 operative who recruited her as an asset. So I guess that wasn't on the show, but I mean, it makes sense that she would be the perfect Section 31 agent. So I'm looking forward to this. Against reservations, I think in hindsight I really like Discovery season 1. I'm looking forward to season 2, especially now with news that Patrick Stewart's going to be on board as Captain Picard. I have no idea how they're going to shoehorn him into that, but I'm interested. Yeah, this sounds amazing. Okay, then let's wrap it up. We're already going long with a last story, another funny story about the German police who we had last week. We were talking about them having a putting out a wanted notice on a MAC address. That was the Polizei Brandenburg. What the Landeskriminalamt Rheinland-Pfalz is doing, so the state police of the federal state of Rhineland-Palatinate, somebody from a neighboring federal state. We always find those guys a bit interesting. They're a bit funny. And now the police is actually using VR, virtual reality, to reconstruct crime scenes. So to basically have an CGI animation of the crime scene, and then of the perpetrator and like the victim, and then show this to people. I guess show this to just people that they're, I don't know, talking to, or like maybe they're using this in court. I think they haven't really said what they're actually going to use this for, but it just sounds very interesting. So apparently, there's a guy who's drawing, those Phantom wanted posters, and he has developed this and has applied for a patent. I don't know how this is really gonna work. I don't know if they're how they're gonna use this. I mean, I guess they could use it to talk to witnesses or something, to get better things. So what I'm struggling a little bit with is I I could see if they were using AR. So if they were using AR to go to the actual crime scene, right, and then put stuff in with AR, that seems to me to be a little bit more practical. Also, they don't have to rebuild everything like in CGI. I don't know. We'll see. I'm I'm gonna be very interested if they just have if they're just gonna have like a court case where everybody sits there like in like one of these dystopian sci-fi novels. Everybody just has a VR headset. Well, we'll see. Anyway, I hope you have a good day. I hope your weather is better than mine, because I'm half in the mind of just going to back to bed again because it's so dark outside. It might as well be night. Have a good day, and I'll see you tomorrow for more tech news. Goodbye.